Hi there, my name is Agona and today I want to talk with you about the communication. Today I specifically want to talk about the throat chakra, which is very important for our communication. I would love to start with my story so that you can have a certain image of what the throat chakra is. As a child, I've been always someone who spoke up. I spoke up when I saw something that is not right. I spoke up when someone would cross over my boundaries. I also have been someone who loved singing. The people who know me, they know that I loved and still love singing. And I always learned languages very fast. Specifically, I knew how to pronounce the words in the right tone. No matter which language, I always knew how to pronounce it in the right way. This held on until I've been a young adult. I then met my now ex-partner. And I feel like I am always talking about this relationship. In one way, I know I have to because it is also very healing for me. But in another way, I just want to mention that I don't want to stand here as a victim. I am just telling you my truth and I want to help people with my experience. So when I met my now ex-partner, in the beginning, I've been like always, right? I spoke up, I've been very radiant, I love my life, I sang, I've been just myself. So going deeper into that relationship, I quickly learned that in order for me to stay in that relationship, I have to start blocking my throat chakra. I couldn't speak my truth, I couldn't speak about my needs, I couldn't speak about my truth and my feelings. When I spoke about my needs, it was always a reason to have a big fight. And I grew up in an environment with my parents that fought every single day. And one thing about me, I don't like arguments, okay? I do understand discussions, but I don't like arguments. I hate them, right? In fact, I always said I will never ever want to have a relationship in which I have arguments every day. Like I always say never, okay? You have to be careful on how you say things, right? Never and no is something that the universe does not understand. Being in that relationship, I controlled the peace I could. That meant that I stopped talking about my feelings and my needs. I quickly realized that my language began to change. My English got very bad. My English was always very good, right? I spoke so well in English that people who only spoke English told me, Agona, your English is so good. Where did you learn it from? In German, I still stayed very fluent, but I discovered that I oftentimes forgot words, which is also a big indicator that your throat chakra is blocked when you want to talk but you forget words. My Albanian got very bad. In fact, when I visit my family in Kosovo after a long time of not going there, they were shocked. They asked me, Agona, what happened? Why can't you speak Albanian anymore? When I split up with him, I started to heal in every area of my life, right? But I mainly also focused on my throat chakra because I knew this is not who I am. And whenever I started to sing, for example, I started to cry. In one hand, because I still feel so sad that I lost that for so many years. But in the other hand, because I'm so proud of myself. I don't know, it's just, whenever I sing, I start to cry afterwards and I feel so proud. I feel so proud that I keep singing. Even though it feels like my communication got somehow erased, I now can create something new out of it. I always see it in a positive way. which for me means I will learn my Albanian back, but I want to do it in a beautiful way, in a classical Albanian language way, okay? So even though I allowed my throat chakra to be blocked, I can unlock it every time I want. And today I want to show you how it works. The ancient wisdom from the chakras began in the early Indian traditions. Over the years, we got more knowledge about the chakras, and today we mainly speak about the 7 chakras. Every chakra of ours represents one endocrine gland. The throat chakra, which is in this area, right, in this, represents, for example, the thyroid. The throat chakra is associated with communication, speaking your truth, being honest, expressing your own voice, expressing your thoughts and your needs, and showing up authentically. The biggest sign that your throat chakra is blocked is sickness in this area. Either your throat, your neck, your jaw, and sometimes it can even go to the heart area or to the chest area. You have difficulty speaking up, saying no, you avoid conflicts, and you are afraid of criticism and rejection. We can also have an overactive throat chakra, which is the complete opposite of the blocked chakra. You know you have an overactive chakra if you talk excessively, if you interrupt others, if you gossip or spread rumors about others, or you use very harsh words. Why your throat chakra is blocked or is overactive has a lot to do with your beliefs and your experiences. This is very different to everyone. I showed you my example in which I learned that in order for me to be in peace, I'm not allowed to speak my needs and my truth. For others, it is maybe because they learned in their childhood that they never have a voice. That's why they're now overactive in their throat chakra. How do we heal the throat chakra so that our communication gets more fluent, that we can express ourselves freely, and that we maybe start to be so happy and start to sing again? Because in my theory, everyone has a voice to sing, but sometimes we've been so blocked that we unlearned singing, maybe even in your past lives. Speak your truth, always and at any time. Express yourself and your needs and your boundaries. I always say, when you talk about your boundaries, when you tell someone, hey, listen, these are my boundaries, don't cross over, and they cannot accept that, then you are simply in the wrong environment. Don't lie. Be always authentic. You have no reason to lie. You can always speak your truth, I promise. Again, if you feel you cannot speak your truth, you most likely are in the wrong environment. Singing is so healing for our throat chakra. Sing as much as you can. Sing whenever you can, whenever you want. Singing is so freeing for our throat chakra. Humming, summing, and chanting. I love chanting, I love humming, I love summing. Every time I'm in my car and I don't want to listen to music or to a podcast or to anything, I just start to sum. What also a lot of people don't realize is that singing, humming, summing, and chanting all are frequencies, okay? These are very healing frequencies for our chakras, but also for our whole body and our energy. Meditations, you can search on YouTube for healing the throat chakra meditations. What I also want to mention specifically is that your environment is very important for your throat chakra. I always see it with children. I see it with young kids, young adults. I can immediately feel when they have been shushed, if you want so, in their childhood, if they didn't have enough space to express themselves and their needs. But also, like in my case, where you experience something that teaches you you are not allowed to speak up. Speak up. Every time you see something, every time you feel something, and every time you know something that is not right, you have to speak up, okay? Everyone should do that, okay? Because first, we have to really mention the things that are not right on this earth. When we do that, 70% of the problems will disappear because of many reasons, but let's just say it in a very human way. If you mention something to someone, hey, I just saw you doing that, or I just heard you saying that, this is not right. Can you think about this? This person maybe operated in that way all life long because this person has a certain programming in their body, right? Sometimes they are not conscious about it. And if you, as someone who sees it, recognize it, make it conscious for them, if they want so, they can start to heal. Sometimes people really don't know what they are saying, what they are doing, what they are feeling. And if you are someone who can see it, please always mention it. You don't have to scream, you don't have to be mean to them, but at least just speak about it, okay? Especially for yourself. You know, I every now and then, especially in marriages, see that without wanting to step over someone, but that your body changes this drastically in a relationship is not normal, okay? Sicknesses and body and your weight are the last stage of your intuition speaking with you, okay? When your body, I get chills everywhere, okay? When your body starts to send you signals, this is the last calling for you to change something in your reality. And I know so many people, especially women, will feel addressed to this. I really want you to wake up, okay? Speak your truth, speak your needs, listen to your intuition, and start expressing. Because do you really want to stay in an environment, in a relationship, in circumstances that make your body sick? God gifted you this body, you know that, right? So please be careful with it. Please be careful with your heart. Thank you. Thank you for your time and your energy. Thank you if you stayed until here. I hope my video was helpful for you. And if you have any questions or anything you want to add on, I will be so happy to read it in the comments. And if you want to learn more about everything God and the universe has to offer us, I will be so happy to see you in my next video. Bye.